Okay, ladies, now I'm going to show you how to quote a poem in an MLA style. So here I have just finished a paragraph where I was quoting a short story. You can see here I had a short quote from a short story. Here it is. A short quote meaning it only took up 2 lines of my paper. If it takes up more than 3, so 4 lines, at any 4 lines, even if it's only part of the 4th line, it is considered a long quote and it needs to go into block quote style. Here is block quote. Here is a block quote. Okay, so now I'm going to show you if you are quoting a poem. Okay, so here's my finished paragraph. Just want to remind you really quickly, in case you didn't watch my other video, remember that your heading should go like this: your name, the teacher's name, the title of the course, and then the date written in this format: the number, the month, the year, no comma. Also, I have a title centered that is not the title of the book. It is a clever twist on what your topic is. Also, remember that you want to go up to spacing options, and you want to make sure you have these two are both at 0. If not, you need to click the decrease, the down button, until that says 0, and you want to make the line spacing here say double. Okay. So I've finished my first body paragraph, and I'm going to go to my second body paragraph. I'm going to push enter, and I'm going to push tab so that I can indent. Now I am going to, I don't want to say now, I don't want you to ever write that as a first word. The next paragraph of my essay is going to talk about how a poem proves my thesis. I want to start by giving the context of the quote. You might want to say who is speaking, what the main point of the poem is, what is happening at the point in the poem that your quote comes from. You might want to say the speaker of the poem says. That's one way to do it. Now I'm going to do a short quote from a poem. I'm only going to quote 2 lines. I'm going to be quoting from a poem called Heart to Heart by Rita Dove. Okay, so my quote is, "It's neither red." Oh wait, you know what? In my original poem, that's the end of the first line. It's neither red. How do I tell my readers of my essay that the end of a line in the poem has come? Well, I push space / space. Then I continue. Nor sweet. That's the end. That's all I want to quote. So I'm going to do my quotation mark, space, parenthetical. Now what do I put in my parenthetical? I'm going to put the line numbers. Now, my poem didn't come with line numbers pre-written, so I am going to write them out. And it happens to be the first and the second line. So I'm going to put 1-2 and parentheses. Oops, sorry, the 2 didn't come out. Parentheses, period. Okay, so here I have my first quote, and it is a short quote because it's only 2 lines of my poem. So I use a comma to precede it, a quotation mark here. I put space / space between the lines. This slash marks the end of the line in the original poem. I end with my quotation marks, and in my parenthetical I put the line numbers. I know that most poems do not come with line numbers. You add them in yourself, and then you write the appropriate line number. Okay, so now I'm going to say, remember to summarize the quote in your own words. This helps to clarify for the reader what is happening in that quote. Then transition into analysis. In the analysis, you will point out which words, phrases, or poetic devices in the quote prove your argument. Remember that in a poem, there are not many words, so you will speak in great detail about very few words and that is okay. I want to also remind you that your analysis should be at least 2 sentences. 1 sentence isn't enough. Okay, now I'm going to transition to my next quote. Later in the poem, the speaker changes her tone when her tone. She is now talking about something different. She says, comma, space. Now, I'm going to quote 4 lines. I'm going to quote 4 lines in my poem. So it can't be a short quote. If you are quoting more than 3 lines of the original poem, not 3 lines of your essay, it's different for a poem. So I'm going to quote 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of the original poem. I have to do a block quote. So I start by putting a colon. Then I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to start writing my poem exactly as close as I can to how it appears in the original poem. So I'm going into the second stanza now. It doesn't have, this is the end of that line, so I'm going to push enter. A tip to spin on, comma. It isn't even shapely. Okay, oops. Fortunately, it's doing my auto capitalize, but the poet did not auto capitalize, so I have to undo that because I want it to look as close to the original as possible. Okay, that's all I want to quote. So I'm done now. I need to write in parentheses the line numbers, and I've got to figure out which ones those are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I haven't told you this, but you should in general count a space as a line because it is a skipped space. 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so this is lines 11 to 14 and parentheses. Enter. Okay, I need to highlight my quote. Now I'm going to press the tab button twice. 1, 2. I have now indented it the appropriate amount. Now I'm at the end of my quote here. I'm going to hit enter. Uh-oh. My cursor is still underneath my block quote. I don't want that. I want it to come back over to the left. So I push backspace once. Ready? Backspace. There it is. Now, should I hit tab right now? No. This is not a new paragraph. This is a continuation of the paragraph that I was already writing. Remember to summarize your quote in about a sentence or 2. It helps the reader to wrap their head around that quote since it is in isolation. Period. Now, analysis is the next component and is the most important part of the paragraph. Remember to point out how this quote proves your thesis. This means you will echo, repeat, or restate a part of your thesis. That is expected and necessary. So you shouldn't worry that you are being repetitive. Try to use different language, but echo the same argument. Okay? Finally, you want to write a concluding sentence that wraps up your paragraph, and you have the option to transition to your next paragraph. I'm going to do it now. Ready? Watch. In this, I have now shown you how to write a short and long quote from a poem, and you are now ready to write quotes from a play which I will demonstrate next. You don't want to make your concluding sentence sound so, I have done this and now I will do this. It's a little bit choppy, but for the purposes of this sample, I wanted to just kind of give you a sort of obvious example of that. All right, thank you, ladies. In this video, you have learned how to write short and long quotes from a poem. So remember, short quotes use a comma, quotation marks, and space, slash, space between the lines are followed by a parenthetical and then a period. Long quotes, more than 3 lines of the original poem, so 4 or more, use a colon. A block quote with 2 tab indent. You maintain the spacing the way it appears on the page. You follow with, oh, I forgot that right there. You follow with the parenthetical, and then the period goes on the outside. Okay, excellent. The next video, I will show you how to quote from a play.